DraftSociety.com presents a Premier League Draft Fantasy Podcast. Welcome to the Key Pass Collective. Your exclusive source for the information, analysis, and advice you need to dominate your fantasy leagues. Come on in. We've been expecting you.
Draft heads, what is going on? Welcome back to the Key Pass Collective. My name is Joe Williams. I will be your host here for this particular episode. It's been an interesting week. We had the close of the transfer window, and we saw plenty of debuts from said transfers. And so we're here to talk about that today. I think it's going to be important that we discuss some of these and discuss how real they are. So you got that to look forward to. The Key Pass Collective, as a reminder, this is the audio companion to the Draft Society website. The Draft Society, what is that, you ask? Well, new fantasy manager, that is the place where you're going to go to get all of your player projections, your rankings. You're going to go there to get trade advice. You're going to go there to get Ryan's lovely article about players who score ghost points. You're going to go there to get all the things, other things, fixture difficulty trackers, rest of season rankings, articles galore, sleeper picks, waiver wire ads, just anything that you can imagine. It's there. So check it out, thedraftsociety.com. And if you'd be so kind as to support an independent fantasy football analysis website, join the inner circle. You get a lot more benefits, and you support our work, which would be really nice. And we really appreciate the people that already do that. All right, let's get into it. So, gentlemen, here with me today, we've got Totti and Ryan. How are we both doing? Ryan, you good?
Yeah, man, all good. Ready for this game week to end.
It's the same, dude. I had Sinistera as my last hope of getting 9 points.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, up against Nyanto, a.k.a. Pele, this week.
Apparently. Yes, sir. Okay, Totti, how about you?
I was in a similar boat. I was 9 points ahead with Roca and Sinistera going, and I was facing De Gea and Ayling. I am currently, as of right now, when Leeds have scored a second one, so I'm dating this.
Oh, who was it?
It was Somerville to Varane own goal.
Oh, Somerville came in to replace Sinistera.
Yeah, that counts. Well. That counts, doesn't it?
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. What's the score?
So I am 3.5 points ahead. So
oh wow!
So
you need United to score.
I do.
Listeners will already know what has happened and whether or not you will be reveling or maybe, I don't know.
Unraveling.
Unraveling. It sounds like unraveling, but it's totally different. You're wallowing on the floor, maybe?
They will know, but I don't know yet.
All right, fair enough.
Beautiful goal.
Nice.
Man. United were back in the title race for another 24 hours. Their title charges have been epic this year.
The minutes of their title charges?
Their pretend title charges have, historic.
Erik Ten Hag will have no one to train with next day because everyone will be disciplined.
Tough but fair.
As it should be. Yeah.
Windmill fist.
Dry sarcasm aside, as I mentioned today on the show, fantasy fake, fantasy for real. We'll talk through several of the debuts from some of the Premier League new boys. And, of course, we'll end with some waivers if we have time. We are on a bit of a time crunch today as Ryan, unfortunately, has some work things that he has to take care of. Yeah, at least they're feeding you, I guess.
I hope so.
Oh, you don't even know if they're feeding you?
I think so, but
okay.
Yeah, TBD.
All right.
They're usually good about that.
Fair enough. All right. Well, here we go.
You know what time it is. Or real. Fake or real.
Yes, absolutely. Andres Posada, everybody. Fantasy fake, fantasy for real. It is a good one. All right, as mentioned, number of debuts from new transfers into the Premier League. Some of them were great. Some of them, we wouldn't necessarily refer to as great. But there is a lot to be optimistic about, and fantasy managers are kind of wondering who they should be potentially targeting in terms of what's left on the wire. So we're going to talk through some of these and discuss whether or not we can expect them to continue to put up some decent numbers. So let's start with the one, the only, Craig Motherkin Dawson.
Did you just bleep yourself?
I bleeped myself, yeah.
Self-censorship. That's smart.
I didn't want to say it so aggressively. Like, it just, I don't mind it, but I don't want to swear at the listeners like that.
You can always just say CMFD, I think.
CMFD. I didn't know if anybody maybe I wanted to welcome them to the CMFD party if they were not previously.
So you spell it out first.
Henceforth known as CMFD.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah,
so
the aforementioned CMFD. Yeah.
So CMFD, of course, now on Wolves, easily scored against Liverpool, but who doesn't these days? But obviously the goals, we don't necessarily expect that to continue. But as far as fantasy scores are continued, well, do you? He's going to score goals.
He's got goals in him. I mean, he does. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
I mean, it's definitely not going to be any of the Wolves number 9s. So it might as well be CMFD.
I mean, they didn't need to drop 3 on Liverpool. So I mean, you had the kit man getting in on the action.
You're right. They didn't need to. It was flat out just unnecessary. They really didn't need to. It was hurtful.
They got a clear goal of 13th, and they're going after it.
Yeah. It's like you've been in touch.
I have.
A sternly worded letter, I think.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah.
I just whispered in the wolves' dens, and it happens.
Well, it's coincidentally maybe his first goal this year. So
he hasn't played much. He's been out for much of the year. But I mean, if you look at last year, he's not in the Golden Boot conversation, but as a CB, he's got goals in him. Let me check
a regular Johnny Evans type.
Yeah, man, I miss Johnny.
Like a Maguire type. I was just trying to trigger you.
I like him. I don't want to sully his name. So,
all right. Well, okay. Let's look at some underlying stats here. So, he's not one for key passes often, but his defensive stats in terms of clearances, massive. 33 in 9 games started. He's one for aerials as well. And then, of course, like you said, he does pop up with the random goal. But with Wolves in a defense that, I don't know, is not leaky, but it's certainly not one to write home about. How do we feel about him going forward?
I don't think he's not going to be a consistent performer week to week, but he's going to be a high-end streamer. If you need some potential upside in a particular matchup, as well as in DGWs, he can be explosive as he showed in this past weekend. So I down the middle on him. Like I said, I don't think he's real. I don't think you can or should roster him rest of season.
He's real in a more transcendental way.
Yeah.
He's real like freedom is real, or like democracy used to be real.
Break glass in case of emergency, real.
Okay. Totti, what are your thoughts on this transcendental wonder?
I actually agree with this wholeheartedly. Like it's never been it's never been the defense that was the Achilles. It's not a heel. It's more of a part of the body, like a whole side of the body
in this case.
for Wolves. But the defense has always been decent. It's just at the end of Lage, even that wasn't working, and it took a few weeks to get that sorted, and they are actually second in our very own fixture difficulty tracker, looking at the next few game weeks for defenders as they face Southampton, Bournemouth in the next two, and then a double against Fulham and lowly Liverpool.
Delicious.
And then Spurs. So actually, although we do, like, there is a feeling that that Liverpool and Spurs shouldn't be that much of a difficult fixture, but as far as defenders go, they are still quite difficult fixture. So, but for the next 3 game weeks, I would consider not dropping Dawson at this point if you were one of the less than 4% that actually rosters him.
One of the lucky ones.
Yeah, I don't think many started him intentionally against Liverpool, but if you did, kudos. And I would consider keeping him against Southampton and Bournemouth, and then the double. So in a short term sense, he's real. Other than that, yeah, I agree with Ryan. He's a high upside streamer who will most likely be available at 15 minutes after lineups are announced, when you are panicking and you've got to your 4th league and everyone's gone, because everyone's your 4th league is everyone else's 1st league. So you're there with bare minimum, and then you're considering Aaron Hickey, or what's he called, and Mike and CMFD, then go Dawson.
Yeah, that's okay. I was just trying to think of a joke. Like, what do you call a Hickey that is in the wrong place? An errant Hickey.
Show yourself out.
This I just hope this won't make the final cut. If we had a proper editor or producer,
you don't edit this shit, my friend. This is making it in.
If you have this is gonna be headline stuff.
Go back to that censorship thing.
If you had a proper producer, then this would be cut.
All right, we're taking applications.
Yep,
we're taking applications. Listeners, let us know. Spoiler alert, to go forward a little bit too.
This is what's gonna get cut. The application bit.
To spoil some waiver maybe targets, I'm guessing we're going to probably recommend all Wolves defenders, yeah?
No, because he rotates the fullbacks a bit. I wouldn't touch the left side. I'd think about Semedo, because it seems like he's a bit more nailed on.
You would start anyone who starts on the left, right? Probably, maybe not worth paying waiver ad, but a speculative waiver ad.
If you really needed a defensive streamer this week, I'm thinking more like long term. So for like a guy that you wouldn't mind putting in for the next couple games, and you would definitely want for the double, I think Kilman's your guy.
Yep.
And CMFD to a slightly lesser extent. But yeah, Bueno and Ait Nori just too unpredictable.
Okay.
Yeah, Semedo potentially.
All right.
Nori didn't score that well either this past weekend. I think he got 9 with a clean sheet.
Yeah, that's not great. Did he score more than Erling Haaland?
I think he did.
Yeah, he sure did.
And Mo Salah as well.
And he scored more than Mo Salah combined over the last 6 weeks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Trent.
Yeah. Yikes. Anyway, okay, on to brighter things. Keylor Navas.
Pura vida.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, the man, the myth, truly the legend, Keylor Navas. What a just a beast. Will he keep it up?
Yes. I agree.
I don't think he will.
I think he will.
I don't think he will. I think there's better goalkeepers potentially on the wire. Saw is better. Pickford is better. I would only pick him over like the Meliers and the Fabianskis of the world. Yeah, I think he's fine, but I don't think he's anything to write home about.
Not a great run upcoming. Maybe for this week, Fulham is maybe what you're excited about, Totti. Then you've got City, West Ham, Everton, sure. Spurs, Newcastle, Wolves, United, Liverpool to end it. So it's really touch and go as far as if you're gonna.
Everyone's gonna. I think he's an exceptional shot stopper, and Forest defense is porous. It's a match made in heaven. Like he's not going to score 20 points every week because they're not going to get a surprise clean sheet. They might not get a clean sheet in any of the next 4. But is he going to have 20 saves over the next 4 games?
He might. He had 4 last game.
Yeah. Like I would honestly think that like a 2-0 against City would be a more likely result than a 5-0. And in a 2-0 against City, I think Navas is a good shout because he'll be around 8
saves,
to 10 points.
Points.
Not 8 saves. Maybe 8 saves, but I think was it 11 saves for De Gea? That was the record a few years ago.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, even if he has like 5 saves and 2 goals conceded, that is money in the bank as far as goalkeepers go, I think. As far as streaming goalkeepers go, like at this point, I'm considering dropping Alisson for him.
Yeah. I mean, even there's plenty of people rostering Ederson right now. Would you rather Ederson or Keylor Navas?
I'm keeping Ederson for the double.
But
in the long term, like I had for this week, I had the option of I had Navas and I picked up Ederson for the double, and my opponent had a City D. So I went with Ederson for this week as well. So I dropped Keylor Navas, but I would have loved to have kept. I'm winning either way, so no harm, no foul. But if I'm like, I would have loved to have kept Keylor Navas, and I wouldn't have gone in for Ederson during waivers if I didn't have him already. So like, I would have kept Navas.
I have a controversial sit recommendation this week, and it's to sit Ederson.
Oh, see, I actually thought about this because I have him in a league. And in that league, I would have won had I started Navas instead.
Yeah, decent chance he just goes negative. I don't see them keeping a clean sheet in either. He doesn't pick up enough saves to offset that. Obviously, the DGW makes you think that you should absolutely start him, but I mean, I've seen goalkeeper DGWs end in tears. Yuri, I'm thinking of out of personal experience. I dropped Leno for him, and it cost me my game week. And Ederson's even worse.
De Gea is on 2.5 currently in this double.
Yeah, cautionary tale.
Wow, I might actually think about that. Interesting.
Depends on what's on your wire. I mean, pick him up for like a scrub.
Well, Navas versus Fulham, or Ederson for the double.
Yeah, I'm not convinced by Navas yet, but I would take someone like Sa or Pickford over him.
Well, of course, Sa. I mean, yeah, he's got a legendary run upcoming. Pickford against Liverpool, you would?
Mm-hmm. Liverpool hasn't been.
I know, Ryan.
Doing much. I don't know if you've heard, but not the goal threat they used to be.
Man, I mean, if there's any game that's going to get them to actually play like they give a shit about football, it's going to be this game.
I would think so, but
will it happen?
He'll get enough saves if they're up for it. He'll either get a clean sheet or get enough saves. Whereas Ederson, I don't think is going to get either.
That's a good point. Yeah, and you know, Nunez and Gakpo will continue shooting it straight at the keeper. So I would imagine
precisely
that'll just,
Yeah, they shoot. I think the issue.
Plus, they have the double coming up too.
Right.
Yeah, the issue with all these potentially or historically high value players like Alisson and Ederson and we can bunch the City defenders in here and as of now the Liverpool defenders as well. Maybe the centre backs, especially the centre backs, but to some extent Robertson and TA as well. Is that I think even if it was the same situation, it was game week 37. We'd still expect them to turn it around on game week 38.
I know.
Right?
I don't. I'm done with it. I know everybody's been like, oh, they got to turn around at some point. They haven't yet. I just don't think. I don't know if they're going to.
Is the same for City though?
Same for yeah.
Like they're out. One hand on the cup, Arsenal.
I mean, I hate to.
Or are you eyeing
Love
up
this.
United's title charge?
I mean, the first one went well. This one's going swimmingly, so I think they're in it. Watch, they're going to win this. Yeah, until I see consistent more than like one aberration performance from Liverpool and or City, I don't see it because they've shown us nothing.
Yeah.
I like conventional wisdom says, yeah.
Can't tell you how fed up I am with Trent.
That trade you were so excited about.
Dude, I mean, it's still a wash because I gave up Mount for him, but
yeah,
still.
Man.
I'll keep him for the double.
Yeah. All right, we move. So, after Keylor Navas, we're going to move on to potentially one that's a little bit more exciting. Tete, you guys were banging the drum last week on the pod, and man, I think this is one that you guys were, stunningly correct about. Insanely involved in play, went 82 minutes, scored the goal, 3 shots. I mean, okay, there was only the one on target, but just looked lively from the get-go. 6 successful dribbles. Just what a performance, and something to get, in my opinion, really excited about. But Totti, let's come back to you first on this one. How about you? Are you excited?
I am jazzed. I love it. I have a thing for Leicester, and it's mainly on the other side for Harvey Barnes, but I can get excited about any Leicester asset that is playing well. My love for KDH is well documented, and yeah, I just like Leicester assets. I just like Leicester forwards or attacking players rather. And Tete just fits the mold perfectly. He has no impediment to minutes. He's an exciting, talented right winger. Madison playing, everyone purring. I mean, even Iheanacho got in on the act, which was strange to see because I was convinced that this was the time for Patson Daka to roll his sleeves up.
Oh,
which,
sure.
he might have missed out on with this Iheanacho performance. Although knowing Rodgers, it's still going to be some sort of timeshare, even though Vardy is out of the picture. But yeah, I'm excited about that too.
Yeah, man. Josh, he's just all over the place. It was so cool. Yeah, Ryan, you were a big proponent as well. How are you feeling?
More skeptical.
Oh,
Having seen this poison chalice that is the right wing of Leicester City before, great debut. Can't take that away from him. Passed the eye test for the most part. I like the successful dribbles for sure. I think a lot of weeks though, those will turn into dispossessions. I hate to be the killjoy here. And even without those, it's 6.5 ghosts. I mean, I think it's decent, but I mean, without the goal every week, I think the jury's still out.
yeah.
It's still early days, but if it was like fantasy fake or fantasy real, you surely have to go real.
I'm not sold yet.
I'm on the real side.
I think it's leaning more towards real than fake, but I don't know.
It might be real that leaves more in the potential unrealized area rather than the realized, but it like the performance and the points to go with it, I think the basis is real. It might not be this loud for the whole end of the season, but yeah, I think it's real.
He's not a Matoma. So let me ask you this, Totti. If he repeats that performance, are you trying to deal him on a high as soon as you can, or are you thinking that he's gonna?
If he gets another attacking return, I'm starting to look at the underlying numbers and the ghost points because if he's getting a second attacking return in two successive games, then people will be overly excited. So I wanna go and dig deep, and although like 180 minutes isn't nearly enough to judge whether he will go swell in the long run, but you can see the signs there. It's better than after one game. And after 2 games, you can maybe see the signs, what kind of positions he gets into, how many shots he gets off, how many key passes he gets, how many crosses, even crosses that might not be realized in an accurate cross. So those kinds of numbers I wanna check out, and if that holds up, then I'm keeping. If that doesn't hold up, maybe just check XG as well, XA, and then if it seems that it is a bubble, then I'm trading. But I think Leicester should be fine attacking wise if everyone keeps on being healthy.
So 0 key passes, 0 ACNCs. It seems like his game largely is successful dribbles, and we know from Wilf that that can be a dangerous game. So
I mean, he completed 6 of 7.
Yeah, no, it's a good return on that. I'd like to see a little bit more flexibility and range.
Yeah, that's fair.
If it's all attacking returns and dribbles, that can be fairly boom or bust. But I mean, if you picked him up for cheap, I mean, you got to be thrilled with the debut. But yeah, I guess I'm just a little bit more cautious about him than y'all. Which is
all right.
fine.
Let's put your skepticism to bed here, shall we, Ryan? The next on our list is Jan Bednarek. Now, I have read your Ghost Point article for this week.
So you're the one.
And yeah, let's talk about Jan Bednarek. Do you want to just kick it off, or do you want me to give the numbers?
Let's hear the numbers. Let's do the Michael Jordan intro.
All right. So for this past game week, one second. This was a 3-0 loss, right? Fantrax default scoring, he still scored 13 points, which is really, really hard to do. 10 interceptions, which is wild. You just never see that. That's like N'Golo Kante type numbers. 4 clearances, 5 aerials, which actually seems kind of low to me, which is interesting there.
I was expecting a lot more. I thought it'd be a little bit more balance between the interceptions when I saw his score and delved into the numbers, but
yeah, that's honestly kind of the extent of it. He had a shot, but it didn't appear to be on target. And then a couple different tackles won, but yeah, the floor seems varied, which you want, and it seems aplenty.
Yeah, he's got ghost points in his locker. Averaged about 9 last season. So he can do it. He has these monster performances in his game. But this is such a crazy performance that I want to see. I'm not expecting this, obviously, every week, but I want to see a similar type of performance this weekend. And Wolves at home is a pretty good platform to do that. So, cautiously excited about his prospects, but at the same time, if he doesn't perform, it's a really easy drop. And he also has the albatross of being part of the Southampton defense, of course. So
is he taken all of Salisu's ghosts?
Yeah, Salisu ended with 2 points. So 2 versus 13, despite the common 3 goals conceded. So yeah, it seems like he sucked up all of his ghosting oxygen. So as I mentioned, I think obviously if this continues, then he's a pickup and Salisu's an easy drop. So he just seems like he has become the alpha dog, as it were.
Okay.
What do you think, Totti?
I think he's fake.
I love this. You guys can't agree on anything today.
We agreed on Dawson.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
If there's anything that's going to bring people together, it's CMFD.
Exactly. The great equalizer.
Bipartisan pick.
I just can't see, like, again, he'll have good stretches and he'll have decent runs of games, but yeah, I'd probably start him against Wolves, but I'm much further away from calling him fantasy real than any of the aforementioned players.
Let's just game this out. If he has taken over the Salisu, at least fantasy role, Salisu before this past matchup has been basically set and forget the last month or so.
Quietly.
Ghosting wise, yeah. He's been putting up these types of performances despite Saints.
But only ghosting wise, like he have double digits like consistently
for his fantasy scores, or what do you mean?
Yeah.
It's 6.25, 12, and 12.75, all conceding goals.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's decent, and it's decent for a
defensive streamer. It's
there's a defensive
most
streamer,
you could hope for.
Exactly, but is defensive streamer fantasy real or fantasy fake?
It can be real for a couple weeks if they're in a hot streak. I'm not saying that Bednarek's going to be a rest of season hold. I think it's a very slim possibility, but he's definitely a pickup and ride it to the wheels fall off kind of guy.
You've got Wolves, Chelsea leads, so there's points to be had there. You would think.
You wouldn't start him against Chelsea, though.
Why?
Yeah, I think I would if he shows any of this type of ghosting against Wolves. I mean, I would, depending on my options, wouldn't feel bad about starting him against anybody, let alone fucking Chelsea.
If we're starting defenders against Liverpool now, I mean, we're starting defenders against Chelsea.
That's fair. Okay, I'm
scared
still
of Mudryk.
I'm still very skeptic. If I have him, it's one of those. If I have him, I'm not dropping, and I'm probably starting as Wolves, but I'm probably not putting in a claim.
Okay, that makes sense. You're probably trying for the Wolves defenders first. You're kind of playing some other matchups before you have to resort to that. Okay,
exactly.
Well, that makes sense. I'm with you guys. I think both of you are very sober in your responses. I don't know about physically, but in your responses, very down to earth, very measured, if you will. Should we move on, or do you want more adjectives?
Let's
move on. All right. All right. So if you listen to the match live, which I actually did watch this game, and it was quite good. Ryan, I'm assuming you did as well. But man, the announcers basically crowned Amadou Onana as the second coming of Christ during that match, and his fantasy numbers, it's not that they necessarily played that out to that extent, but Fantrax standard scoring 11 points for a center defensive mid who, didn't score a goal. It's pretty solid. So newish role in this Dyche 4-5-1, it looks like. How do you guys feel about Amadou Onana going forward, real or fake? Totti, let's start with you again here.
I just do not like rostering defensive midfielders at all. I know we talk about them a lot, and I know that there are a lot of
there's another one coming up on our list.
Yeah, there are a lot of decent performances like this. There are some that ghost well. That there are some that have some role in the attack, so that they might get a return. But it's just so, the lows are so low that, and the highs are so infrequent that I'd much rather go with someone like even this season's Adama Traore, who is more likely to get goose egg than anything. Than go with an Onana. I know he's a forward and Onana is a defender, but I'll try to find a better example.
So not even Onana's 2 key passes and shot on target are going to sway you on that one. I mean, does it seem like he has a newish role, a more advanced role?
I wouldn't. This is for me. This is the difference between fantasy real and fake. We're looking at Tete's first game and Onana's first game under a new manager. Okay, so fairly comparable in that sense. Whereas I can see what Ryan was saying about a non-varied floor with Tete, but I'm more confident that he will be there or thereabouts when the attacks go, and therefore, even if he doesn't get an attacking return, he might get some sort of peripheral points there in the attack. Whereas if Onana is not playing an active role that he played against Arsenal because he's tasked with a more or a different role against a team with a different style, then he might go for 1.5 points. And you wouldn't be surprised by that. But then his high isn't 20 points. His absolute high is this 11, and I think this is an outlier. So his usual high would be 8. And that's like I'm not sure I want to get on board with that. But
if
that's
8 is the best you can hope for, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Like there, yeah. I'm just not sure I wanna roster him.
Yeah, that's fair. Ryan?
A little more bullish about his chances because I tend to agree with you, Joe, from my eye test, which made me sick early Saturday morning. Yeah, looks like he's in a new role, very active.
He was a stud, to be honest. He really was.
Yeah, I would agree with Totti that. Yeah, I mean, let's see how he does when he's not up. Forming a low block, getting defensive stats, and leading counters. But I think it's an exciting prospect, and I'm more excited by the fact that they double in 25 in a couple weeks. And those are the types of players, especially if he has the added upside that are going to start to and usually have a decent floor. So I'm going to try and pick him up and at least hold for the double. I don't know if I'll necessarily start him right away against Liverpool because I think I have better options in the midfield, but I'm willing to punt that this continues, and worst case scenario, you get him for the double.
I like that. Yeah, I don't mind that idea about the double.
Yeah, I'm fine. He's like I think we talked about this. Maybe it was last week's podcast, or maybe it was just in the chats that like these kinds of players. I think Thomas Partey was the name mentioned. Is like the perfect double game week player. You're able to pick him up if you think ahead, like 1 maybe 2 game weeks. You're able to pick him up almost for free.
Yeah.
But he'll guarantee you a decent score in the double. Like one would have thought Mark Roca was.
Yeah. Or Casemiro.
Don't.
Casemiro.
Tyler Adams did come off, thankfully.
Yeah, Tyler
not
Adams
helped me much.
Yeah. He's done good. He's done
And
good. The boy's done good.
Listeners will know this already, but Manchester United have tied it up, and Jadon Sancho scored a goal.
Yay.
Those down dogs have done him right.
Oh man,
I have him in a dynasty.
Looks flexible.
So.
His ayahuasca journey must have been fruitful.
Vision quest. I wonder what he saw.
Yeah,
maybe he saw that goal. Maybe he envisioned it.
Let's hope he saw a lot more. Who knows?
Visualize and achieve.
Maybe I guess we'll have to do a fake fantasy reel for him next. Probably not.
No.
Be the bull that you want to see the world become.
Yes. We should have we should do a thread or like a poll on who his Yoda was on his Dagobah system. Like what famous either football, like ex-footballer or manager or football personality, like who was his Yoda on his Vision Quest?
I like to think it was Carl Weathers.
I like to think it was more of a waterboarding situation with Eric Cantona.
Very nice. Very nice. Oh, yes. I like that. Okay. All right. Moving right along from one CDM to another. Ryan, I'm going to come back to you first on this one. Enzo Fernandez put up the same number of points in standard scoring as Onana did. Got them a little bit differently. Not quite as many offensive numbers there. He only had the one key pass. But yeah, basically filled up the stat sheet in other ways that were encouraging. And I guess the question is, can he keep that up, or are we worried that is potentially the ceiling, and then we're going to set ourselves up for just a number of 4 to 7 point returns in the next however many weeks?
Bingo, bango.
Yeah, I mean, pleasantly surprised. To be frank, I don't think any of us expected him to drop double digits without an attacking return in his debut. But yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Joe. You'd want to see a little bit more attacking stats to show that he's got a bit more upside and he's a bit more box to box. He did have that one shot that almost hit the frame.
Yeah, one shot. Yeah, the one shot. Yep.
So I mean, like, listen, all of these January guys.
Listen.
I mean,
Listen,
folks. Sorry, I was watching the State of the Union address last night.
Listen here, Jack.
Listen, folks.
Wisdom coming.
All these January guys, you take a punt, you see their first few weeks, and then you act accordingly. First test, very good returns. So you got to be happy so far. So I think he has the possibility of being this type of player, but he also could sputter out. So you just got to hold him for at least the next couple weeks and see how it pans out. But pleasantly surprised. I would, if I was pressed to bet, I would say he's more of a Wilfred and Ndidi a couple years ago type of guy, a high end CDM, but I think he still has the potential to be a little bit better. So jury's out.
I mean, Ryan, there is room down here if you come off the fence.
It's a bit rich coming from you.
Oh,
Yeah, I think he's fake.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be more 4s and 7s than anything close to what he did here. So it's definitely a sell high situation.
okay. I like that. I'd be down with that. I was looking at some stats that like may try to convince you, and I was going to say this is not one we usually bring up, but it's one that the site that I'm looking at has currently. Successful passes into the final third. So I thought that was kind of interesting, right? Ball progression. You love that, Ryan. And so I was like,
that.
well, yeah. And so I said, well, okay. I looked at Onana. He had 6, and that's not very good. I looked at Enzo. He had 8. And I was like, well, shit. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about this stat, but I guess that's pretty good. And then I sorted for the whole game week. And Fred has 29.
I was going to say, to be fair, Everton had 6 in total. So Onana got them all.
Fred had 29. Nyonto had 36. So never mind. Yeah, sounds like a sell high to me, Totti.
Yep.
The problem is I don't think a lot of people are going to, because somehow he went for a lot of fab. So if those guys spent the rest of their fab and then got an 11 on his initial game week.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I would advise doing that as well, because I like to sell high on most of these January guys, because who wants to take the risk, especially if I get them for low. So I sold Tete and Ouattara because I got them basically for free, and I think I got Ouattara for 1 and Tete for 0. So I mean, I'd rather just shift the risk to somebody else. They might pan out, they might not. I won't have the confidence to start them week in, week out. So if I can get something for them, then I will.
Yeah, no, I like that.
But people are so invested in Enzo that I doubt it's going to happen much. But yeah, if I had him, I probably would definitely look into it.
I will look into it.
Oh yeah, that's right. You got him, huh?
Got him for 0. Yeah, in Genie Leagues, I have nothing left in Fab. So
you're going to say I have nothing left. Just kind of all that was.
Well, yeah, in that league, that's true. Lost Eriksson, lost Rodrigo. Yeah, it's dark days. All right,
it's a nice glimmer of hope.
Yeah, let's move on to a man with just such a wonderfully boring first name, Paul. I love the name Paul.
Yeah, it's got a Doug type feel to it.
Yeah, very much like Bruce.
Very soupy.
Last name, a little bit spicier, which you like to see. Paul Onuachu. So of course, new forward for Southampton, came in at half, I believe, or at least played 45, and
came out halftime. Yeah.
Did he? Okay, all right. So then in that time, of course, looked quite good. Didn't score a goal. No, did not score a goal. Sorry, my fault. He had the 3 key passes. He had a shot on target and was otherwise also just busy doing other things. So another positive thing in terms of how we score in this game is we saw 6 aerials, 7 aerials attempted, and he won 6 of them, which is encouraging. Can he nail down a spot? Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of question marks around this one. What are your thoughts, Totti?
I'm joining Brian on the fence on this one.
I'm not on the fence on this one.
He has potential to be real, but it's Southampton, man.
Yeah,
it
sure is.
That's the only thing, and it's the same with the next guy as well. It's with these lowly teams, we have these supernovas that shine so bright and then fall into the abyss. And he could be just that, but I hope he's one of the good guys and keeps on aerialing, but we'll see.
Ryan,
I'm not gonna argue with Ryan on anything he says.
Fair enough.
This is why I said it's a bit rich coming from you, because this is waffle. I think he's real. I think he's. I mean, from a ghost point perspective, you got to be licking your chops at 10 ghosties in 45 minutes, for goodness sake, in a 3-0 drubbing. And in terms of the eye test, the dude is enormous. I don't know if you guys have seen him, but he literally looks like a jacked Peter Crouch out there.
Yes, that's awesome.
The dude does not know how to not get aerials. I mean, he's going to be a force. I think he's real.
I was not able to watch that match, so I'm looking him up now, and yeah, wow,
dude, he's a unit.
Do they have this phrase elsewhere? I don't know. Other people from other countries will have to clue us in. In America, we would call that a brick shit house.
Yeah, I don't think that translates, but he certainly is just that. So I mean, I obviously hear the criticism that Southampton sucks, but they don't have to be great if you have that type of profile. I mean, I don't care if Southampton gets beat 5-0 if I have Bednarik and Onuachu dropping double digits out of thin air.
That's fair.
And we'll see if they can keep it up, but I think that was kind of a perfect debut from him from a waiver wire perspective.
I agree with that 100%. The only sort of caveat I would add is that the new thing, and I know, Ryan, you will like this.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
The new thing in the sort of analysis lingo is game state, and it means that all this data that we have been using and all the statistics and everything has to be caveated by what kind of situation in the game these data points were coming from, like you would.
So because they were chasing the game, you think
exactly. So is there a chance that all these ghost points for every Southampton player except for Salisu, the one that I started?
It wouldn't make sense for Bednarik, because if they're chasing the game, then they would have most of the ball, and that's where.
But didn't they come from interceptions? Like you would expect CB to, when they're playing a higher line, to get most of their statistical upside from things like interceptions rather than aerials or clearances.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Potentially.
I may be pulling at straws. I'm not as well versed in game state analysis as I am in quality starts analysis.
Oh my god! If Genie were here, he would be losing his mind right now.
Give you a couple weeks and you will be.
I will be, yeah. But it's an interesting thing to at least think about. It's not conclusive in any way. But
It's certainly a thing for sure. We've seen where
yeah.
players have poured it on at the end of games for sure. And Onowatch probably benefited a little bit from that. But if he didn't have this type of profile and he didn't play that type of role, because he did link up play, so he got the key passes, which was a big thing for me. Like if you're just an aerial merchant, then that's one thing. But he had a bit all around to his game, and yeah, chasing the game or not, 45 minutes you drop 10. I mean,
yeah, that's
not
he's
expecting
definitely
it, but
like he's if I was putting on in claims and I was looking for players to pick up and I didn't have any restrictions in positions, then I'd much rather go for Onuachu than Bednarek.
oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, nice. I like it. One player that Totti, I think you literally called basically exactly what was going to happen with this player last week. On a shit team, but he's exciting. And you said if he were on any other team that you'd be really, really excited about him. But as it stands, you're only sort of excited about him. Has that excitement changed since he had a pretty decent 60 minutes in his first week out? We're talking, of course, of Hamed Traore.
I picked him up in a league where I have 0 fab, only to drop him for, and I will tell you this just to make it a bit more poignant. Someone stupid. I pick him up in the hope that one Jeremy Sarmiento is gonna play for Brighton. He didn't. I picked up Dennis Undav, who I mean,
What was his quality state?
Undav scored 7 and Hamed scored 9.5. So it's in the short term is not a huge loss.
No.
And but in the long term, I think Hamed will be fine. A big question is what happens when Tavernier is back, and I think it's a supernova situation.
Okay.
And it's a very it's a small supernova, a mini nova.
A mini Nova.
Mova.
How did he score his points?
They're pretty varied.
Are they?
One
kinda
key
got,
pass, 3 tackles, 2 successful dribbles, 1 interception, 1 accurate cross.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's all over the place.
More defensive than I thought he would be. You kind
Yeah.
of think of him more as like a 10, like the Tavernier role. But the fact that they were playing Brighton, I think, made it a bit different because they weren't on the ball as much as you would be against a normal team.
Okay. Ryan, are you pretty much on board with that, or do you have any other thoughts on
Yeah,
Hamed?
I mean, I think I like the fact that he got that many points against, like I said, a possession-dominant side like Brighton.
Yeah.
At Brighton's a really tough fixture. So I think that's a great start. You got to like his prospects when the schedule softens up a bit. The problem is it doesn't really for a while.
They got a brutal run.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where like I would love to just have him on the roster just to see how he does, but I just wouldn't feel confident starting him week in, week out if I had better options. Because yeah, like you guys said, it's Bournemouth at the end of the day. But I think he has a possibility of being like a strong mid 3 ceiling. what happens when Tavernier comes back is anybody's guess, but it's pretty good sign so far.
All right. I mean, worth a pickup. Just
I think so, speculatively. Yeah.
All right. So you got a roster spot. Okay. All right. Well, this next guy, I thought we'd just include him because he had a decent match, and in terms of fantasy output, every other metric would tell you no. But but you're not going to be able to get him off the waiver wire, and in fact, you might be able to trade for him. I guess the question is, what kind of faith do you guys have in Cody Gakpo after what have been 3 full Premier League matches and then another cup match or 2 cup matches that have been a mixed bag really for him. I would say more of the bottom of the bag than the top of the bag, if that makes that old adage that everybody says.
Yeah.
So, Totti, we'll start with you because you're probably more likely to have watched these matches. What do you think of old Cody?
Most of them were against Wolves, so
exactly. I think
I was going to say I've
watched 7 of the 8.
watched them.
Yeah, I think I still have hope for Liverpool's attack to come good, and with them Gakpo to come good. I read an analysis on Gakpo and his transfer to Liverpool, and the interesting thing that is worth mentioning, and it's nothing more than a food for thought, a snack rather, not even a full meal for thought, is that for a long time Liverpool have been to some extent much like Brentford and all the other stats guys, targeting players who were down a bit compared to their statistics and then came good. Salah is a good example, and Thiago to some extent, and Gakpo is the signing of Gakpo coincided with most of the research and scouting department announcing their resignation either at the end of the season or like Michael Edwards in the summer, in the past summer, and Julian Ward leaving next summer, and he's one of the consistently overperforming his XG guys, and he's not in the mold of previous Liverpool signings. So it just gives me a bit of angst, but I still think that somehow, some way, Klopp sorts it out, and they'll have a decent second half of the season. We'll see. If I can get him very cheaply, then I'm going for it. But I think the sweet spot is, I know you traded him out for Jared Bowen.
Yeah.
At this point, I'd hesitate to give up. Who has been decent recently? Like not last season decent, but someone who is showing more potential. Like at this point, I'd probably try to go cheaper. And if I can get him cheaper than that, then by all means go. I'm gonna try to get him, but yeah, it's definitely not been the kinda amazing run that we had thought that he would help us go on. But yeah, I'm still like, if when we are tallying up January transfers, I'd still say that he's gonna be in the top 3-4 points scored.
Okay. All right. I like ended it with kind of, yeah, that's interesting. That's especially what we've seen so far. Go ahead, Ryan.
Man, I hate to keep adding stuff to the doc, but I would love to take that wager of top 3 January transfers. Despite him having like 4 games on top of everybody else because he came like right at the beginning.
You don't think he's gonna have a top 3 overall score for all the January transfers into the league?
No.
Well, I'll take that. I mean,
all right.
Every time. Yeah.
I mean, I think Tete is already above him 1 game.
Yeah.
Ouattara is probably above him. Onuachu's got to be close. 45 minutes of work. Yeah, I'll take that all day.
That's fair. Yeah, Gakpo is in 12.5.
Yeah. What, from 4 games?
Three
in the league. 5 total, I think. Was he there for the Wolves Cup match and the Brighton Cup match, or was it just the Brighton one?
No, he was there for the Wolves one.
Okay, all right. So yeah, then it's 5 total.
Yep.
Okay.
Three league games, 12.5.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'll add it.
Only one of those with Nunez, and that was the one that was decent. So I don't know.
We'll see.
I mean, he's not going to be, if everybody's healthy again, he's not going to be nailed on as he has been. So, I mean, take away the consistent starts and keep the type of.
I mean, it has to come down to attacking returns. Like if he's not getting
ghost enough to be in top.
Yeah. And he's not gonna, as you say, when Jota is back and I don't know when or if Diaz is back playing, like starting, but Jota and Firmino should be back next week. And I know you like to hate on Firmino, but I think Klopp will be more excited about getting Firmino back because he is the guy who starts the forward press.
Yeah.
And I know he hasn't been the guy lately, as he has missed quite a few games, even last season. But Mane was there to pick up the slack, and Mane was there in the quote-unquote 9 role for most of that to pick up the slack, as in the slack for being the guy in the forward press. And I think they need him badly, very badly. Mostly for their defensive shape rather than their offense, and that's just I think the window for both the Gakpo bet and the Firmino bet to come off is very like short or close, but it could happen that both come off. Most likely one of them comes off and the other one doesn't. Well, we'll see. Add it to the doc.
All right.
I did. It's done.
Nice. All right, Ryan, I know you have to leave soon, but we can't let you get out of here without talking about your boy, Sulemana.
Oh, man.
What did you make?
Another Southampton ghost.
Yeah, dude, it
right.
sucks. It sucks that all the best and most exciting January transfers are soul-sucking Southampton.
Right. Yeah, what did you make of his first performance here? He also got 45. Did he also come in at half?
Another, yeah.
Okay.
Another good game state. Victim of, actually a victor of chasing the game, of course. No, I mean, pass the eye test as well. It's going to be Fantrax aside, it's going to be a very fun player to watch. But yeah, you got to like 6 ghost points in 45 minutes. I'm a little bit more skeptical of him than I am of Onuachu, just because he seems a bit more dependent on in real life types of situations, whereas I think Onuachu just again has the profile where he's going to be like Ollie McBurney on a bad day. But I like the fact that he got a key pass, 2 successful dribbles, a couple other stats, but yeah, I think he's he's going to be better than Adozie, but I think he might have some games where he kind of blanks like Adozie does on that wing. But I'd say realish. You got it. I mean, again, this is all a crapshoot. You got to like his debut, 45 minutes, 6 points. So I'm quasi bullish about him, but I also want to see him continue this before I'm fully on board. But I have him in, I think, all my leagues.
Yeah, I worry. My only thing is I worry that he's a little bit too much, maybe like Adama Traore, in that his pass completion percentage was 46, which is really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were having doubts about Tete's successful dribbles, then Sulemana should be like
same ghost points in half the time.
Warning signs, warning, and that sound loudly.
In that sound. Okay, so what exactly is standing out to you as being such a warning?
Like
in that sound.
The sound? Like,
the sound you did, yeah.
It's well, I think it's like I want it to be. If you could auto tune it to something like like one of those metallic sort of artificial voices that comes out of a loudspeaker when you have to evacuate, something like that.
I mean, I can't. I'm not just here for all your requests, Toddy. What do you think I am, Casey Kasem?
Who is Casey Kasem? Is
Okay.
he someone who does requests?
Now you show yourself out.
He's a DJ. He's a famous, world famous DJ, radio personality.
He once hosted a dance contest at the Max, if that helps jog your memory.
On Saved by the Bell.
Yes.
Oh, Casey. Oh, Casey.
You may remember the Sprang.
Yeah.
While we are at requests, I'll talk to you after the recording because I had an idea.
All right. Anyway, Suleimani.
Yeah, I think I like him. I think he's real. I'm with Ryan.
What?
What?
You just made the case that he's not. You said warning signs, warning.
No. I was making the case that if Ryan's not having Tete as real, the guy who's nailed on in a better team, has already scored a goal, started his first game, and he said that he can't say he's real because his points came from successful dribbles and those lead to dispossessions, then that should be doubly real for Sulemana. So I think both are real.
Okay.
But
okay. That's making more sense.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Interesting. Yeah, we had a couple others on the list, but I mean, we've talked about some of these guys. Dangle Ouattara, we've talked about him a few times. He did have another decent scoring day, and then of course Hoot, if you will, has I don't know, not. I'm not interested. I'll just say that. Do you want to quick talk about either of those guys with me, Toddy?
I mean, Hoot Heckhorst, the king in the north. Yeah, I mean, he may just be the guy who was there at Burnley. We did say that he's
Right.
much better, but he's come off at 58 in 2 consecutive games. 8.5 against Crystal Palace, but 2 points in the game just finished against Leeds. He's pretty much nailed on until the one
58.
game until 58, and also until Martial is healthy for that one game that he's healthy for. I mean, I wouldn't drop him. He's a forward 3. I think he's a forward 3 that can be plugged in if you have a spot. I'd start him against Leicester. I'd start him against Southampton. But yeah, he'll nick a goal here and there. He'll nick an assist. I'm not jazzed about him like I was when he came in for Burnley, but yeah, he's decent.
Yeah.
Nothing more.
I don't know. I'd have to be in a real bind to want to try to start him.
Yeah, he has had one shot on target across 4 games. It's not his game. It's not his game, to be fair.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay. Would you start him over any of the other guys that we've talked about?
Today, I'd start him ahead of Bednarek.
Okay.
And probably Onana and probably Enzo, just because he has a chance to score.
Huh.
He's there or thereabouts. Like he has statistically, I think, a bigger chance to score a goal, and that is overpowered in our scoring system.
Yeah.
So yeah,
definitely, that makes sense. All right, one last one, and then Ryan might wrap up with us here real quick if he's available. He's getting ready for his work dinner. But James Bree has been interesting. At least maybe we just want to just mention him really quickly because I know it's, again, Southampton. I get it. But we talked about Bednarek and we talked about all of his defensive numbers. James Bree is a little bit interesting because he's actually racking them up more on the offensive side. 3 key passes, which I love. He's racking up crosses, 2 ACNCs, accurate crosses, not including corners, interceptions, a couple clearances. So, and a successful dribble in there as well. So potential kind of like wing back numbers. Do you like him at all for some ghosts to hopefully overpower the goals they're inevitably going to concede?
I mean, I think he's one to watch for Ryan to feature heavily in his Ghost Point Hunters article, but he's one of those guys who will always concede enough for the ghosts to be masked so that you're not fully bought in.
Okay.
In decent matchups, like he's again similar to what I said about Bednarek. They're facing Wolves, who are not free scoring unless they are facing Liverpool. So he might, like, if he only gets -2 for 1 goal conceded, he would have been in double digits this weekend. So I would temper expectations. I wouldn't put him in the fantasy real category by any stretch of the word, but in matchups that are decent, I would be okay starting him.
Yeah, that makes sense. Reminds me of kind of like a Renan Lodi sort of character.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah,
that's a good comparison.
Where they could a team could easily nick 4 on them, and then he gets you 0 or -2 pretty easily, even despite ghosting even.
Exactly. Yeah, like at the end of the day, if you see a player score like 4 points for you, then you're not comforted by knowing that that is coming from like 12 ghost points.
Yeah.
When they have conceded 6, like
right.
And Nathan Jones isn't digging them out of the hole that they're in. So.
Does not seem that way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, Totti, you got any quick waiver wire targets or streamer targets for this week before we sign off here today?
Yeah, I have a few. I still haven't published the waivers article on the Draft Society, which I'm probably gonna do tonight, as a matter of fact, which will have been in the past if people are listening. So read the waiver article that has Nat Phillips, Pablo Sarabia, Kelechi Iheanacho, and Paul Onuachu, the Cho-Choos, in it. Sarabia is one of those who did not go swell against Liverpool despite the very good score, but looked decent in real life and could be in for some attacking returns as well against Southampton. So want to keep an eye on. Maybe someone dropped him after seeing the meager score. So yeah, he's one to watch definitely. Other than that, it's I hope Nat Phillips gets the deserved run that he deserves.
Okay.
We had a good back. Well, it wasn't a back and forth, but it was just a nice little open convo on Twitter about Liverpool defenders last weekend when Joe posted that when will Phillips get his day in the sun. Joe Gomez and Joel Matip haven't been that good, and I replied to him saying that I thought Joe Gomez was actually decent in the past few games. He wasn't decent against Wolves.
Nope.
And Matip has been very bad defensively, but
very bad.
But to be fair, even against Wolves, I don't know if you've noticed, but he was obviously tasked with bringing the ball up.
Yeah, definitely.
And he was like, he had like runs of 50, 60 meters from his own box to well past the middle of the opposition half, where he just cut through all the midfield, and I think that is an under-lauded aspect of why Liverpool were successful. Matip's runs and I think when the midfield progression isn't working, which it isn't working now, Klopp was saying, like, if we're losing the ball in midfield, just Joel run with it until you see a forward and pass to him.
Oh God.
And I think that's like, I don't think Nat Phillips is capable of that and good at that.
No.
So I think if we are gonna see Phillips in, we'll see Phillips and Matip.
Oh Lord.
Which is
God help us all.
Yep.
All right, Ryan, are you back with us? You have any streamers for this week?
I am, and I do.
Beautiful.
I mean, he took a lot of my start-sit guys as well. Goodness, I feel like we got groupthink going on, but we don't talk to each other. Yeah, I'm trying to think who didn't say. Bednarik, give it to me. Do it again, Big Jan. Bring it back, Big Jan. I feel like it might be a Tomiyasu kind of game. Ben White's been a bit out of sorts the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
And Tomi's filled in ably, as he always does. So I'm wondering if he maybe gets the double. So be on the lookout for that.
Both of the games in the double?
Yeah, I mean, I think if he starts the Brentford game, he's got a decent chance of doing City as well, because he's a bit more, I think, defensively solid, and he did a job coming on in the FA Cup game against City. So just a somewhat of a hunch. It's an early enough game where you can keep an eye out, but it's not guaranteed. Arteta doesn't rotate that much, but if he was going to, I could see that potentially happening. Yeah, I think he covered the rest of them. All the Southamptons guys.
What are your thoughts on Mateus Nunes?
I like him. He's really coming into his own.
Yeah.
Hello?
I mean, I've been telling you guys he's great in real life. I watched his first few games with Wolves and got a little bit of slack, but I mean, there were just glimpses where you could see like, man, this guy can just boss a game. And the Liverpool game was really one where he definitely bossed it from start to finish. But again, you got to price in the fact that it's Liverpool, unfortunately, fellas.
Yep.
But yeah, 11 points. You got to like that. Plus, he's got the double coming up. He's the perfect player for that. So yeah, if he's on your wire, I would definitely pick him up at the least to stash.
Nice. I like it. All right, beautiful. Well, let's go ahead and close her down. This has been the KPC. Ryan, enjoy your work dinner. Totti, thanks for joining us as always, late into your evening. We always appreciate you. Listeners, you're the absolute best. If you made it this far, you know we love you. If you have any questions, hit us up on Twitter. Let us know if you have any quandaries, any queries, any quagmires that you need help with. We are here and happy to help you. Just tag us and we'll get it out, hopefully to kind of a wider audience and see if we can get some more eyes on it. It's been the KPC. Love you all. Talk to you soon. Cheers.